G'day, welcome back to my channel. Just pulled this out of the pressure pot. It's been in there for a few days. It's a green epoxy with pine cones, and this video is all about turning a bowl. So I'm loosening this off with the release agent, and there's the blank that we're going to use for turning it on the lathe. Put in some white and a green epoxy, but not too much of the epoxy resin dye so we can see right through to the pine cones. So the trick here is we've got some hot glue just melting over here, and I've got a turned disc with some ridges for the glue to adhere to, and we're going to stick this in the center on the back of the bowl blank. So this is a simple trick, should go well. Make sure this is all balanced so that it's not going to move around while it sets. And we pull out an awl that's going to go through the center of this disc, and I've already made a hole in the bottom of the blank, so we just line that up. Get it nice and applied. I use the Gorilla Glue, it's quite good to place on the bottom of the bowls. That all goes in here. Get to it fairly quick before it sets. In the hole and push it down and make it tight, central. Okay, put a bit of weight on that and leave it overnight to set. Don't like a dog's dinner.
So here's the bowl on the lathe, around 500 RPM to start with. It's fairly balanced bowl blank. Now for the cutting tool, I use the Easy Tools largest tool of a circular negative rake scraper. I find this to be the best tool in my opinion for hollowing out and shaping epoxy bowls. You can see that the epoxy comes off in very long ribbon-like material. It's messy business, and in my preference, to be honest, I'd rather be turning timber. But there's a high demand for these types of bowls, so I do them from time to time. Very, very popular. So as you've seen, this is a mixture of epoxy and pine cones. The pine cones were not stabilised. I was crossing my fingers to make sure, to hope that I don't get too many bubbles coming through. But as you see now, I'm turning it back with a shape, kind of like a champagne glass shape on the outside. And I see some bubbles there and some inclusions, so I fill up with 30-minute epoxy. The tape that's been pushed on there now, it's called epoxy tape, and it sticks extremely well and just stops that epoxy from running out in the first 30 minutes of cure time and holds it into the inclusion. I do use a Starbond CA glue just to fill up some other voids and cracks in the material, and yeah, Bob's your uncle from there. I'm going to reverse the bowl and to start hollowing out the interior. It is a timely process. Try not to use too much force, despite the fact that we've got a tailstock hard pressed against the bowl. Keep in mind that it's only that glue that's keeping the foot and the bowl anchored to the lathe. So just take some careful cuts here with the negative rake scraper. I didn't get a single catch using this tool. It's quite a nice tool. Keep the rotation of the bit or the blade in place from time to time so that you've got the sharp edge of the tool against the workpiece. So here's the tailstock removed, and it's just the final finishing touches of the inside of the bowl here and the final shape. Now on goes the rotissorie's attachment, screwed into the back of that wooden foot, and this allows the bowl to be mounted onto a barbecue rotisserie, which turns it around about 8 RPM while the tabletop epoxy is applied and set and cured for overnight. I use a 50-50 mix of the epoxy, and then I put it into the microwave for about 8 seconds, no more than that, as epoxy is a thermal material. You heat it up too much and it will go off super quick and crack extremely bad. So into the microwave, 8 seconds, and that brings the epoxy into a more of a watery like substance, so you can apply it to the bowl a lot easier. But as I say, be careful. If you let it go more than 8 seconds, it will ruin the batch. So I use a nylon brush to apply this. In this case, I just drench it from the outside and the inside without being on the rotisserie, and then put it onto the rotisserie, set it turning, and leave it to harden overnight. You see here I'm using a naked flame torch just to take some of the bubbles out of the piece.
Well, it is the next day, and we have the bowl stopped turning, and it's completely dry. The epoxy's cured, well, at least a day's cure. You can see that it's come out pretty well. The sheen on it is quite nice, and you see the bowl close up there in the camera. So get it up there a little bit more. Now the inside has a fair few occlusions. You can see there in the light. So it will need a second coat for sure. Except I'm not going to run this second coat on the video. This needs to be uploaded, so I'm going to leave the foot on in this video, but to take that off, I've got to leave at least 4 or 5 days of curing. The reason why? Throw this on the lathe, and the vacuum truck really has to hold purchase, and so with the epoxy not cured totally, it will cause an indentation. So it's got to cure perfectly before I can use the vacuum truck. I'll throw this back on the lathe, I'll sand it out to 320 grit, and then put the second coat and back onto the rotisserie for it to cure. So thanks guys for watching this video. It's been a real pleasure. The turning of the epoxy, as you've seen, can be a messy business, but it's worthwhile at the end of the day. So more videos coming up. If you like the video, press like, subscribe please. Any comments are most welcome. I love to hear from you guys in my channel, and next time. Cheers guys.